My sponsor Rock Bottom is currently running a special deal. Head on over to rockbottomcoins.com and use code Zirksee at checkout for a 30% off your order.
The whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zirksee coming at you today with another YouTube video. Today, I'm going to be going over my top 10 base elite tight ends for Madden 20. Now, of course, big shout out to Playoff LaMelo. He is the one that actually made me the custom cards you guys are seeing right now. And if you guys want to get some custom cards made for Madden 20, link is in the description to his Twitter. Big shout out to him. He's made all the custom cards for literally all of my base elite predictions. And whatever base elite prediction you guys want to see next, let me know down below. I've already done quarterbacks, halfback, wide receiver. This is going to be tight end, and I'm honestly pretty excited to do this. Now, I will say this, before I even get into this, I usually do an honorable mentions at the end of every single video. I may have like one or two people, but there's not a big list. In my opinion, tight ends this year had great seasons. A select few anyways. And those select few that had great seasons, after them there is a ginormous drop off in production. So putting that together, this top 10 list was a little bit more harder than basically every single list, just because you really had to question which guys actually deserve these overalls. With that being said though, let's go ahead and get into number 10. Hope you guys enjoy. So number 10 is going to be Kyle Rudolph. A lot of people thought they were going to actually trade this man, but he is an 83 overall. He had 64 catches, 634 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That doesn't really sound too spectacular, but that was actually one of the better tight end performances, which is kind of weird. But Kyle Rudolph did, of course, sign, I believe he signed an extension with the Minnesota Vikings now, and of course they also draft Irv Smith Jr., so they're going to have two pretty solid tight ends. I'm going to be very curious to see exactly how it works out with them, but Kyle Rudolph, 83 overall. Number 10, I don't think that's too much. And coming in at number 9 should be Austin Hooper. Now, Hooper could, of course, be an 83 overall. He had 71 catches, 666 yards, and, of course, 4 touchdowns. Now, I believe, like, the number one thing that Austin Hooper is known for is when he had, like, the 80-something yard touchdown. I want to say it was versus Chicago. I'm pretty sure it was versus Chicago. And I think I actually had him on my my FanDuel team for that game, so that helped out a lot. He got me a ton of points for that game for sure. I think he had like over 100 total receiving yards, because obviously like an 80-something yard catch, if he just got one more catch, would have been over 100 probably. But Austin Hooper, a solid tight end for the Falcons. Obviously, Falcons fans, he's not Tony G, but he's a solid tight end. I think he could potentially get an 83 overall. Now, I really hope I don't mess up his name, but coming in at number 8 is going to be an 83 overall, David Njoku. I hope I didn't say his name wrong. He had 56 catches, 639 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Honestly, I expected him to have a much better season with Baker Mayfield. Hopefully in this upcoming year, now that they have, OBJ over there as well, maybe that'll let David Njoku get open a little bit more, and his numbers will increase, because honestly, I was thinking about taking this guy in fantasy this year, and I think I still might, now that Baker Mayfield has a year under his belt. I think he's going to be pretty dang good, and I feel like David Njoku is obviously one of the better tight ends to use in Madden, because he usually has some pretty solid speed. So David Njoku could be one of those good budget beast types if his speed is actually pretty good. Now coming in at number 7 is going to be Evan Engram at an 84 overall. I know Evan Engram did not have the best season. He had a 45 catches, 577 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You could potentially say that Evan Engram should be an 83, and then maybe move one of the other guys up to an 84 overall. But Evan Engram, I feel, is going to have a very good season. I think that having OBJ on that team, maybe it took away from some of his targets, or maybe it actually freed him up a little bit more, and he just wasn't really getting open. Gonna be very interesting to see how him and, of course, Daniel Jones actually pair up whenever Daniel Jones does decide to take over as the starting QB, if that's gonna be this year, next year. Eli Manning going to play another 5 years. But Evan Engram, of course, is one of the fast tight ends in the NFL, again, just like David Njoku. So I would like to see him as a little bit higher overall card, because every year he gets like a Team of the Week card or just a base card in general, and everyone uses it because this man is just extremely fast. Now coming in at tight end number 6 at an 85 overall is going to be O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard actually was injured a little bit of the season, but when he did play, this man was ranked, I believe by Pro Football Focus, as either the best tight end or the second best. I can't remember which one it was, but I do know he was ranked extremely high. He had 34 catches, 565 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Doesn't really sound too impressive when you think about the fact he had Jameis Winston throwing the ball and Ryan Fitzpatrick quarterback. Not very good. And also he did miss games. When he did play, according to Pro Football Focus, he was one of the best tight ends in the game. And at number 5 is going to be 87 overall, Jared Cook. And again, another super speedy tight end, Jared Cook. He had a great year this year with the Raiders. And of course, now he is going to be on the Saints. So I'm really curious to see how that pair is going to go. Drew Brees loves to throw to his tight ends, and Jared Cook seems to be a pretty dang good tight end. He had 68 catches, 896 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I believe he actually led the Raiders in receiving yards, which is kind of weird for a tight end to do so, unless you're someone like Jared Cook or another tight end I can name yet. But Jared Cook definitely had a very solid season, and after bouncing around the league for quite a bit from the Packers, the Rams, the Titans he originally started on, and then of course going to the Raiders for 2 seasons, and now on the Saints, I hope he sticks around because honestly, he's been pretty dang good. Hopefully puts up similar stats. Now I feel like this one is definitely going to anger some Detroit Lions fans. Eric Ebron coming onto the list as an 87 overall as the 4th highest ranked tight end. Now, he actually had like an incredible season, but he just gets overshadowed because there's a couple different tight ends this year that broke NFL records. So Eric Ebron, 66 catches, 750 yards, and 13 touchdowns. That was tied for 2nd in the NFL with those 13 touchdowns. He went from Detroit, where he couldn't catch a ball, to going to Indianapolis, where he caught 13 touchdowns. I guess the difference was between Stafford and Andrew Luck. Maybe it was just the offense all around him, I guess, because now the Colts can actually run the ball. Didn't have to force the pass to Eric Ebron when you were in Detroit. Just had a crazy season. Eric Ebron even made the Pro Bowl, which in the Pro Bowl, he actually, again, had another touchdown. So that's just Eric Ebron's specialty, I guess. Touchdowns. I don't think any Colts fan is going to complain about that. Now, of course, we're going to get into the trio of tight ends that just destroyed the NFL this year. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when you see the crazy production these 3 had. So at number 3 is going to be 88 overall, Zach Ertz. He had 116 catches, which broke the NFL record for most catches by a tight end in a season. He also had 1,163 yards and 8 touchdowns. That is a ridiculous season. This is just crazy. The stats these tight ends had, these top 3 tight ends had, compared to the rest of the tight ends, this is why making this top 10 list was kind of hard to do, to justify giving even some of these lower guys what overalls I gave them, because there's just a big difference between the top guys and the lower guys. But Zach Ertz, definitely deserves at least an 88 overall. And coming in at tight end number 2 is going to be Travis Kelce again at an 88 overall. Now this man had 103 catches, 10 touchdowns, and 1,336 yards. Now a lot of people say, well, Travis Kelce had Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. True, but who cares? Travis Kelce was doing it with Alex Smith too, and Alex Smith is definitely an average QB at best. So Travis Kelce, absolute monster. A lot of people say he's the best tight end in the NFL. Now that Rob Gronkowski is gone, I feel as though there's 3 tight ends in the NFL that are just literally levels above everybody else. Travis Kelce is definitely one of them, and he actually did break the NFL record for most receiving yards in a season by a tight end. Unfortunately for Travis Kelce, I don't think anyone will remember that he did that because this next guy. And of course, my tight end number 1 is going to be George Kittle. Coming in at an 89 overall, Kittle actually took that record from Travis Kelce for most receiving yards in a single season by a tight end. And it was only George Kittle's 2nd season. Kittle was only 25. He had 88 catches, 1,377 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He did that with 3 different quarterbacks, I believe. He had Nick Mullins throwing the ball. He had some other QB I can't remember this time. And then he also had, of course, Jimmy Garoppolo. But Garoppolo was only there for like 2 weeks. Kittle absolutely backpacked the 49ers this year. I mean, 1,377 yards for a tight end is just insane. And not to mention the fact that they literally could not do anything else on offense. They had a solid run game at best. And they had literally quarterbacks you never heard of. So absolutely crazy what George Kittle did, and that's why I think he deserves to be the highest overall tight end. Not necessarily saying, you know, it's unfair that Kelce had Mahomes, but the fact that Kittle did it with quarterbacks that will never start for another team is pretty crazy. Now, for honorable mentions, like I said, there's really not a lot of honorable mentions. I mean, basically, you could put these 3 guys. Jimmy Graham, he had 636 yards, but only 2 touchdowns. Vance McDonald had 610 yards and 4 touchdowns. And I think possibly Trey Burton, who had 569 yards, but he did have 6 touchdowns. So I feel like if any of those 3 are going to make the top 10, it could potentially be Trey Burton. But with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy my list of the top 10 base elite tight ends in Madden 20. Of these my predictions anyways. Hopefully these are going to be correct. Let me know down below what other positions you guys like to see next. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, smack the like button, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys next time.